Good day, Grace Keepers. Joe here. We are studying the end times here at Daily Dose of God, taking a deep dive into the scripture to learn all about it. And last time we began our deep dive into the Olivet Discourse. Jesus gave us a framework to understand the entire age that we're living in, describing general signs like wars and persecution as the beginning of birth pains, signals to watch for, but not to be alarmed by. Today our study takes a dramatic turn. After giving us that long-term perspective, Jesus shifts his focus. He's about to answer the disciples' question about the one specific, unmistakable sign that will officially begin the final countdown. He moves from the general birth pains to the main event itself, a time of trouble so great it will be unlike anything the world has ever seen. And he points to a single event that triggers it all. In Matthew 24, verse 15, Jesus gives us this critical instruction. So when you see standing in the holy place the abomination that causes desolation, spoken of through the prophet Daniel, let the reader understand. Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. As I studied this, I realized this is the single most important sign in the entire Olivet Discourse. It's the lynchpin. And Jesus directly connects it back to the puzzle piece Daniel gave us. This is the fulfillment of Daniel's prophecy in chapter 9, where he said a coming ruler would make a 7-year covenant with Israel, but would break it right in the middle. This is that moment. The phrase, standing in the holy place, tells us a future Jewish temple must be built in Jerusalem, because that is the only place this can happen. An abomination in the Bible is an act of profound blasphemy that desecrates something holy. This is a future ruler, the Antichrist, committing an act of ultimate desecration right inside God's holy temple. The Apostle Paul gives us even more detail in 2 Thessalonians, saying this man of lawlessness will set himself up in God's temple, proclaiming himself to be God. For the first century Jew, hearing Abomination of Desolation would have triggered a visceral historical memory. They would have immediately thought of the Greek tyrant Antiochus, Epiphanes, who in 167 BC conquered Jerusalem, marched into the temple, and sacrificed a pig on the holy altar to Zeus. It was the ultimate act of defilement. Jesus is saying that what Antiochus did is a foreshadowing, a historical preview of what this future ruler will do. And the moment this happens, Jesus' warning is one of immediate, desperate urgency. He says to flee to the mountains, not to go back for your cloak, not to even go down from your roof to get anything from your house. The tone here is one of sheer panic. The peace and the protection offered by the covenant in the first half of that final 7 years is shattered. This event is the trigger that begins what Jesus calls the Great Tribulation. He describes this period as a time of great distress, unequaled from the beginning of the world until now, and never to be equaled again. He says it'll be so severe that if God himself didn't supernaturally limit its duration, no one would survive. And we did do a little episode about time shortening. I'll link it down in the description. It's a really good episode, and you might want to check it out. This is the start of that final intense 3.5-year period of Daniel's 70th week, leading up to his return. So Jesus gives us the one clear, unmistakable sign that the end has truly begun. And it all hinges on this future act of desecration in a rebuilt temple in Jerusalem, an event that has a historical parallel, but a future, ultimate fulfillment. In our next study, we'll look at what Jesus says happens immediately after this tribulation begins, the cosmic signs in the heavens, and the glorious, visible return of the Son of Man. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive. God bless, and I'll see you for our next study.